experience, and I think experience is really going to be key because, again, it's just about players that are very accustomed to having to be so adaptable, so flexible, and Macwood, Blake, already just trying to do what they can. As soon as he steps, they want to take out Peter Griffin here because the intention, again, Monster, it's about the medallion. It's about getting into the vault.
Play for the medallion. There's only 5 of them, and this is one of those locations. But take a look. It wasn't a free drop by any means. There were 4 teams here, themselves included. Besides, you know, the fact that the others didn't directly contest them, so maybe they got a bit lucky there. But that's what it's gonna look like when it comes down to medallion drops. Jumper with Seek and Dash though. Seek with the clutch up on behalf of his team, and not only that, taking out a very notable duo there, Lawrence and Chubbs. That quick. It is over for Chubbs. Chubbs is gonna fall from Team Prodigy. Super unfortunate for him. And hey, there's some familiarity there, right? As Prodigy Seek is of course on the same esports team. So very interesting fight that just unfolded there. But that's what happens, right? 252 duos, you queue in. I mean, you have to assume maybe a part of their strategy, right? Their in preparation is of course practicing some of these similar rotations. So super unfortunate, but that's what's gonna happen throughout the day.
And on that note, also have to keep in mind, there's bound to be teams that have just studied other teams' drops. Because as long as you have a general idea of the loot path that some of these teams are going to be trying to, you know, obviously optimize whatever farms them the fastest, but at the same time, that could work against them if you're trying to make the same plays every single time. Because again, these players, they kind of ingrain that. It's almost like muscle memory once they really get going with some of their drop maps. But not every team necessarily getting off to a super aggressive start. We've got Bucky and Okus here at Fencing Fields. Curious if Nisha has already been taken care of, if somebody's been able to claim that Striker AR Mythic.
Well, before we get there, though, Bugha and Aviv have a problem on their hands, and it seems like they're wrapping it up pretty quickly here as Bugha patches up the leak in the building, in the pipes here, and it's all his. Aviv here, he's got his back, playing a little defensively. There's another duo just above them, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Fast-paced games, off to a very hot start. I mean, we're not saying everyone's gonna W key, but ultimately, these drop-swap fights, if you get to win, you know, 2 duos worth of eliminations, that's a big head start. Nerface and Goon, though, are like, yeah, maybe not, though. Let's get out of here as they end up backing up here.
Kind of surprised, though. They didn't fall back, but getting a replay look on Bugha, making quick work here. And the other thing, too, is that's a great hammer pump Monster, so you have to make sure that you connect Bugha with a nice double elims closure there. But again, back at Hazy Hillside, we already saw one engagement take place. Axverse with the Frenzy Auto, just a little bit quicker on the trigger there. That's going to eliminate Dash. And now Smoke and Axverse, they know they still have company local to them, but Hyrax and Juicy, they don't seem all that interested in trying to take this engagement. And the other thing we haven't really been able to take note of just yet, MDF, I mean, still relatively early on, but teams trying to manage their surge damage in these kinds of lobbies, since it's not necessarily a set lobby, it's almost like you have to practice different surge strategies throughout each one of these matches.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you might have to push the team that's picking up that reboot, right? Normally, we'll see that happen anyways, but when it's in a lobby like this, yeah, you're not guaranteed to know who's on your rotation, who's on your pathway, right? There's very little you can do to prepare in that regard. So taking those first fights, those big opportunities, is likely going to be extremely important. And talk about that, looks like Raiden here has also picked up already 2 eliminations alongside Slim Numlin, and they're just trying to play to the zone. They are very hurt. But luckily, it seems like they do buy themselves just a little bit of time, but just enough posture to get to the vending machine here to go ahead and pull out some med kits and likely some minis as well.
They just need anything, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
When you're running so low on any sort of heals, no form of shields, yeah, the vending machines can definitely come up clutch here as Onyx taking full advantage of a met kid. And again, working with 80 shield, it's good. It's better than maybe what other players they've encountered have been able to work with, but I'm also curious to see how builds management is afforded to a lot of these players, because again, with things being so potentially split and nothing really being guaranteed in terms of who's nearby, some players might find themselves not only struggling for surge damage, but just maybe a little bit, if you get stuck in overcommitments to fights, for example, and you're not able to actually farm up resources like what we're seeing Pars and Bugha take advantage of here.
Yeah, Pars and Bugha are really looking to see if they can find a team up here. I think they have an inkling that there might have been someone nearby, and he was absolutely spot on. Pars using the grapple hook to jump ups to save material. We talked about that conservation. That's exactly what he wants to do. He cracks him for a 110. He knows the team is probably already healed up here. Little does he know Noxie is at max HP, but they have full advantage here, Taco. I mean, natural high ground, excellent positioning, and not only that, he knows that they are dictating the pace of this battle. However, the zone is on the way, so there goes the launch pad. Off he goes. And you know, they're going to take the tags. They're going to be happy with that to at least push them in the right direction here.
Pars and Bugha, definitely veterans of the space, I would say. And so with that in mind, they're not going to waste any time as far as getting the zone. They know that they want to prioritize their positioning, because they can look to always try and pressure out some of those teams. They're going to be trying to pull in from that east side of the map towards the way that the zone is currently forming. And Pars as well, he had that mythic nemesis, so he's got Montague's Nemesis AR from Grand Glacier, which leads me to believe they might even potentially have the medallion from Grand Glacier if they've got the mythic.
Yeah, likely. The teams are not going to leave that one behind, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Quinn and Panda here playing a bit defensively as Elsa is just eyeing things up, trying to see if he has an opportunity. Sharkman is down here. The train's on its way. He's going to have to make a move. Seems like he's got his teammate's reboot card. Okay, so he's going to slide all the way on back, play for the pickup here. All in all, tough spot for them not to win their first engagement, but at least they'll have an opportunity to bounce back. He will be low on material, though. You can see that they've already expended most of their resources there, so going to be pretty tough for Sharkman and company to bounce back into this. On the other side, though, Notch and Hove, much different story here. Sunny side of town. Things are looking really nice by the Reckless Railways.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams, it's definitely been a very evident competitive meta that a sniper is practically a must at this point. It's an excellent utilization as far as getting some of those surge tags early on. If you're able to connect even with the body shots, you don't necessarily need headshots at the time, although they're nice because of the instant knock or elim if it's a solo. But I do think that prioritizing, just picking up that cash, getting as much resources and loot as possible, always good looks here as Cooper, he's trying to find some good looks of his own with that Reaper, and to connect on that last shot. But I would say Cooper's probably one of the last people I'd want to have a sniper pointed my way at.
And I was curious if he was going to go change his loadout. I'm like, this man's not rocking a shotgun. Doesn't seem very natural for Cooper not to have some kind of big shotgun in hand, but it seems like he's going to opt into the SMG. He's got plenty of options here as they're playing the high ground, just trying to take advantage. Very interesting spot on the map as well, as they kind of find themselves somewhat towards the edge here, so really depending on whether or not the zone's going to pull outwards towards the Ritzy Rivera. Meanwhile, though, fight breaking out here. Caesar and Dembo. Not looking too hot for them. Look at how much they've already invested here into the battle. Not only just material, but heals as well. So a story is to be told here. A drawn-out fight between two parties. And so far, both sides are at a dead even standstill, but something's got to give here. And first, it's going to be Caesar with a great tag so far. Taco and a piece up, but the shots clap back. And a 2-on-1. It's an even exchange on both sides.
The Demo doesn't want to let this go anytime soon. He knows that Caesar is knocked, but he'll look for the finish first. On to Nexi. And now, with Nexi having been elim, Demo, he's trying to see if he can get that revive off onto Caesar. Edge does not want to push this In fact, another team gonna find themselves trying to trickle forward. Edge, it's now or never if you're gonna try to make the aggressive stance here. The Demo, he's just doing what he can to try and get his duo back up and running. The revive being attempted one more time, blocked off. Beautiful edit there from Demo to save his teammate's life just a couple moments longer, but Edge, he's really trying to push this one in. It's Sharkman, it's Elsa. Sharkman on a revenge tour after having just been rebooted not too long ago.
I'm more confused as to why Demo Be Cool hasn't just finished the elimination. If he picked it up, this would, signal to the team on the other side that, hey, the fight's wrapped up. Maybe we should back out of here. Sharkman might think twice, but the fact that he kind of delayed it, tried to play for the save on Caesar might be the end of it. And there it is. Sharkman comes in, finds a knock body. That's all the information there. They know, oh, now you are definitely a solo, and they picked up the elimination. So this is a huge change of events right now for Sharkman and company. All they have to do is find a tag here on Demo Be Cool, and unfortunately it's not looking like he's going to last for very long as he is scrambling right now, but it's just a matter of time before he gets caught out. There it is, Sharkman back from the reboot van and right on into the standings there with a couple of eliminations. Very nice for this team here.
And you could just tell, though, with the way that Elsa and Sharkman made that approach, they wasted absolutely zero time. NDF just ripping through those walls, clearing out as much of the edits as possible. I mean, it's not even really about them tarping to make that aggressive play. They were just breaking all the builds that were already pre-existing there. And Sharkman, again, just smelling like blood in the water, essentially. He could tell that there was no real opportunity there. I mean, Demo revives Caesar, and then Caesar gets instantly knocked again. Just a little bit tragic there as well. And
you know what? I'm willing to bet Sharkman, that's going to be the last time he falls that early in a game. I think, this is the first game. You get it out the way. The way he's playing, that confidence to push a duo like that, I think that's going to be a team that's surely going to perform and finish up towards the upper half. Talk about teams that perform early on. Chimp is known as a player that does exceptionally well in this type of lobby. It's these open style stages. I'm also feeling very, very bullish on the fact that Chimp might be a competitor to look out for here today. Take a look here. They're not happy with sitting in any kind of enemy builds here. It seems like they have bullied teams off of this general location. Clearing the space, getting the cachet for themselves. Very nice. And look at that. Everything to choose from here. So just posturing up very nicely. Launch pad in hand. They're going to be just fine for this game one.
That was so much Flowberry Fizz, though. That just got dropped. Definitely an ideal form of utility as well, because oftentimes in endgame especially once we get to those movie zones, you'll see teams, if they have any of that Flowberry Fizz, just trying to utilize it to possibly challenge a little bit more towards those secondary height layers, if not height entirely, just in case you don't have the grapple blade available. But Zypha and Shore, Zypha at least with a grapple blade in hand, but more curious to see what happens here with Bucky and Okus. Bucky, I think a little bit of that Sixth Sense tingle right now, could probably tell that this location isn't 100% safe, especially being so close to that Rift Island. Have to imagine that there's other teams kind of lurking near the bottom here, but again, train's just gonna flow right around some of these builds that have been established here by Bucky and Okus, and yeah, just really teams trying to wait out each other to see who's gonna make the first rotation, essentially.
Yeah, and I'm thinking they definitely found an elimination. Sitting on way too much material. They tarped out a huge box. So Bucky and Okus are having a great game one, sitting very comfortably right now. Meanwhile, Visual and Braids right here on the move, playing a little bit of a dead side rotate, taking their time here as they're trying to utilize this little bit of landmass before they inevitably will have to play into the waterfront there. This is a pretty odd zone to play off of, I'm being honest. Just south of the Rebel Roost, there's going to be a big body of water before you get to the Ritzy. And you know what? There's a team there. There's a team that's also looking back at the edge of the zone. I think they know that they have a very advantageous position here. And if they just follow their gut, if they follow their hunch, they'll be spot on, potentially to open themselves up to 2 free elims.
I mean, what I can't help but notice with Visuals is that AR ammo is looking incredibly low. Maybe Braids has more that he can split, but Visuals can't really be taking these long shot exchanges. Maybe initially a couple of rounds can be exchanged, but I just don't think 41 is the count that you're looking for when you're trying to approach on a dead side rotation, because if they are under in the slightest first surge here on the it could be problematic.
And look, it was Bugha and Pars who had the feeling there might have been a team there, and it looks like they let their guard down for just a moment, and Visuals and Crew slip by and make their way to the landmass. So Bugha and Pars lose out on an opportunity. And just talking about the ammo difference, right? Visuals and company, little did they know, they would not have been able to put up a long-range defensive stance. It's just not going to happen. They don't have the ammo for it, but that's the fun part about being behind the camera like we are, right? We get to see all of this little bits of insight and kind of know what's at stake. But on the other side, Bugha and Pars is just playing off of instinct here. Meanwhile, we jump over to Miro, who's got the bit of high ground here alongside Cooper. Zone's going to pretty much pull towards them. This is a very favorable spot to be in, but not looking too hot either on the inventory count here. Half the material count's essentially already invested in this massive base here, and it's going to go to waste.
Definitely seeing quite a few teams that are more or less kind of in need of a refresh, whether it's for materials or just for ammo. Something's got to give at some point, and Bucky, he's already given everything as he will be on sacrifice so far here. Oak is doing what he can to try and see if he can pull this one through, but Bucky, he might just be trapped here. Don't think there's any opportunity for Oak to look for that revive. Axe first, Smoke possibly just taking their time, toying with that finish onto Bucky, and we were just complimenting this team for how far they were able to tarp out. Seems though as if they had to leave that initial location, that they'd established a little bit of a safety base in MDF, and now with Smoke, it's Axe first. They want this final elimination onto Oakis, because again, you start one battle, it's not just going to be you and them. There's always the rest of the lobby to get involved, and that's something that we've seen Sharkman and Elsa already take advantage of once this game. You can imagine they're trying to see if they can run it back with a little bit of that third-party action, but Smoke and Axe first, 2 E-limbs in tow. And the main thing that I'm noticing is the max mats.
They're pushing back though. They know. They're like, hey, Bucky, we got you. Where's Oakis? And they find him just on this upper layer here, making it look easy. And you know what? I have to assume that it's because of the momentum swing from Sharkman and Elsa possibly opening up the pressure, right? The line of fire here, because Bucky and Oakis, like you talked about, they were extremely comfortable. Something had to go terribly wrong, and I think it's that they opened up the box against Sharkman. They probably had too many tags. Smoke and Crew just come on in, and they finish the job, making it look nice and easy. That's what happens when you have teams that are feeling confident, that are moving, and they're closing fights quickly, right? But look at this, Bugha even fighting back here in the water, shamelessly, in the sniper meta. Talking about it, you see the shot come through. That's the risk you take as you start to poise up in the open like that. And look at how many teams are nearby. I'm more surprised that the entire lobby hasn't found a fresh angle here, but no, they're just slow enough. White tags are going to come through. Bugha's going to make the call here. Let's push this fight. We're going to finish them off. And look at this, not even going head on. He takes this side angle, right? It's the little bits of positioning here. It's the couple of small things, the small differences that put him to be one of the best, one of the world-class players. He puts himself on the left side to have the right camera peek. It's just so textbook, making it look very easy. And not only that, opens the line of fire for Aviv right there, not getting in his own teammate's way. The little things, Aviv and Bugha are showing signs of excellent gameplay right now, and also synergy as duo mates. I'm feeling very good about this team now. I think Vivid might have been right putting a spotlight on them.
When they're making plays like that, yeah, it makes total sense why Vivid has so much respect, along with, I think, just about everybody that's paid a little bit of attention towards Fortnite history. But Bugha and Aviv, they're not the only ones trying to create their own opportunities. Right now, it's Koyu and Goldberg seeing if they can push so heavily, but it's going to be a complete turn and burn here from Zypha. Does wind up losing short in the process. Don't think he'll be able to get that revive off in time, so it's looking like Zypha's going to have to resume the rest of this game as a solo clutch. But he's not the only solo that's moving right now. And the main priority is just making it into zone. Grapple Blade, gonna mitigate some of the damage pressure from that, but he's gotta wait for those recharges to come through now. The builds getting expended at a rapid rate here. Everybody recognizing the fact that this solo has just entered the safe zone. But how safe are you really as a solo up against the likes of two duos right next to you?
Well, we'll have to see it. Zypha's been cooking off camera, and in fact, we might as well run it back one more time for you guys. Let's take a look at how he picks up 2 quick eliminations here. Moving alongside his teammate Shore. This is a very experienced duo. This is a team that handles the pressure very well. Goldberg gets taken down. He lets the wall come down, pre-fires the shot, lands it, most importantly, and closes the deal. As we start approaching the end game, though, Cooper and Miro already in position. Bugha and Pars likely in a very strong spot to win this game as well. I know we see them on the low ground, but last we checked in, they had a lot of material. And look at this. Miro and Cooper haven't expended much. They are using these grapple hooks wonderfully to move just right along zone to zone here and get position to position. And now, honestly, they can even refarm here. They can situate themselves even better. We jump in with Bugha and Pars. Not a single elimination, Taco, but all the material in the world.
It seems as though Pars and Bugha have done an excellent job of kind of just sticking towards this low ground, finding other teams' cleanups potentially. Looks like some kind of battle took place, at least, where Bugha and Pars are currently located, and now they're both just getting back to max shield. They want to make sure that they are full healthy when they go for their next method of attack here. But Bugha and Aviv, right now, their only focus is on just controlling the high ground. This is right around the time where you would kind of expect a team to really start applying some pressure onto everyone else in those lower layers. But Bugha, Aviv, they're gonna have to be careful of some of these other teams that might have those grapple blades in tow. It's not necessarily a guaranteed freebie trying to hold on to height.
Yeah, listen, I see everyone talking about Flowberry this, Flow Juice that. No, I'm talking about Flow State. Bugha and Aviv are locked in right now. They have the high ground. They have so much space between them and their opponents. They are just in a completely different stratosphere right now, looking extremely comfortable. Meanwhile, Chip and Sires are down in the shambles. Bots here below the storm surge, slowly running out of material here. They have to do something big, or they're going to start falling down this totem pole pretty quickly here. So as they start moving to the front side of zone, let's see if they can take a fight.
But that's the thing. Even with Twixen on the other side of this wall, Chimp doesn't want to just rush in mindlessly. Kind of trying to do what he can to gauge the situation, gauge just how many duos, how many solos are actually in these low ground layers with him and Sires. And now Chimp finally finding some moments, trying to turn forward. But again, materials are so low. Cooper, Miro actually gonna drop to the low ground temporarily. It seems as though they want to just restructure, reorganize from where they actually want to set up here in this like mid-ground layer, but Cooper just continuing to turn forward. Hav, Knock, they're the ones now trying to apply some pressure onto the other side of these walls. It's going to be Bugha, in fact. I'm not sure if Pars went down as well, but Bugha being eliminated by Hav and Knock, that is a massive takeout.
Yeah, I didn't think that would happen, especially considering they had so much to work with. Bugha and Pars are two of some of the best, fighters that we have on the region right now. They're locked in here, but Zypha just holding on. That med kit's gonna go all the way through. That's a win condition now, completely used up here. He's trying to put himself in a spot. Sometimes it's just easier though to play for yourself here. Let's see if Zypha can find at least a single impact elimination. Pressure's coming in. He's in a world of trouble though. The enemy box is there, and I was curious why Bugha and Aviv would have given up their positioning here, but it seems like they just read the zone perfectly here. They just gave it up temporarily to get in front.
And it's gonna be Cooper first to fall here between himself and Auto Only. Auto Only being Miro, of course, but when you're left to try and deal with all this congestion that's been building the mid-ground layers, massive shot there from Hav. That's gonna be a medallion pickup as well for Hav and Knock. Just trying to do what they can to get those shields, but Pars actually still up and running, so it was exclusively Bugha that got elimed earlier on, almost jinxed Pars into oblivion, but instead a little bit of revenge here as Scissor, it's gonna be an elim that Pars will claim for his duo. But now, Auto Only not gonna be able to cut the gap there with that grapple blade. Unfortunately, will fall to the storm damage. Hav and Knock, though, doing such a good job in this secondary height layer. Have to imagine that's still Bugha and Aviv up top, trying to apply some pressure. And then again, all the way down to the low ground, you've got Pars clinging on for dear life here. And BF, it is not an easy position, but pretty solid solo clutch so far.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what you expect from a team that's just this good. They're going to perform. Everyone's going to put up the numbers. This is what NA's best is all about.
Knock, though. The last representative here, as Hav just recently being Elim. Bugha still holding the high ground. He's got a Vive up to his own devices down below, trying to do what he can to take out all these other teams. A successful elimination, though, for Aviv as he gets knocked in the process, which is going to force Bugha down. But Bugha, he's just looking for the capitalized shots here, and he will find it.